So this is a buzzsaw. This is going to be a beginner move. And then we're going to add something to it, which is a wrap, which is this. Now the wrap is going to be intermediate. That's going to be a little bit more challenging, and we're going to explain it. But first, let's get into the buzzsaw. Now, a buzzsaw with nunchucks is a little bit trickier than if you use something like poi, for instance, because when you're spinning a buzzsaw, as you can see, I'm creating a circle with one hand, like so, and the chuck is moving right at my face. So, number one rule is lock your elbow out. Before you even start spinning, hold the chuck and make sure it's not going to be like uppercut. Because if you're holding it too far down, for instance, if I'm holding my chuck like this and I'm wheeling it around, it's going to totally uppercut my face. And if you're using wood, it's just like, hold it at the tops like so. Give it a little bit of space though. We're going to give it about this much space, and I'll tell you why in a minute. This is going to be so we can do wraps on them. If we hold it like this, we won't be able to wrap and reverse it. All you're going to do is we're going to stand, first I'm going to stand facing you guys, and then I'm going to turn to the left. I'm just going to take my left hand, for instance, right now I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to hold it to where my chuck is facing the wall. So if I'm facing this direction, this is actually facing where I would be standing like if the camera was here. So this thing is pointing, as you can see, it's pointing this direction, okay? What I want you to do is just get used to spinning it like so. You're going to see it's creating a circle, so you're going to work on spinning it in front of you, like so. The way that you can get, like if you can't really coordinate it, and let me show you. If I stand here and the chuck is kind of moving this direction, that's not straight at all. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create the chuck to create a straight line from our head down to our stomach, okay? So if we can just put a line right there, that is the direction that the chuck is traveling, like this. Should be a nice and straight line. If it's moving like this, you're going to have problems. The easiest way that I can say, if you ever feel like the chuck is starting to move off axis, because you needed to cut straight through, is going to be to lift your arm up and down, like this. It's just very simple, but once you start moving out of axis, just lift your arm up and down like so, and let it adjust, and just keep doing it until it starts to, as you notice, it'll start to settle in this direction. So it's this upward lift and this downward lift that's going to keep the momentum kind of shifting in the right plane. Don't go to the other arm until you can do this and have a straight line in front of you, like so. So I'm holding it sideways, and this is going this direction, going vertically, cutting my body in half. The next thing we're going to do is put it in our other hand and try it again. So obviously I'm going to stand off to the side for this, but just for the sake of you being able to see it again, we're going to just hold it in front. And if you want, you can also hold your other hand out without the nunchuck to start, and then just go like this. See if you can get it to go in a straight line again. Again, this is a little bit trickier with a nunchuck than it would be with like a poi because it's super long. You don't have as much grip. You can't like up your grip too much. The thing is if it's getting closer, one thing you can do is the angle that this chuck is pointed. For instance, if this is too close, one, you can kind of angle backwards, but some people don't have as long of arms. Another thing you can do is you can point the chuck forward like this a little bit. So instead of being perfectly sideways, watch the difference. If I push it forward a little bit, you're gonna have more distance here, see? As opposed to if I pushed it backwards, it's practically touching my nose. So depending on the way that your hand torques back or forth will also give you more space. Generally speaking, try to keep it sideways though. Keep it straight unless you need to adjust. And get used to this thing coming close to your face. It's not going to hit it. Remember, angle it out. Make sure it doesn't hit your face first. As long as that's true and you just move your arm, you don't bend your arm because you're going to hit your face if you do. As long as you keep it stiff-armed, it's going to be a straight line and you're going to be fine. I think we'd go to two chucks right away, but what I want to show you, just like how I was saying you lift your arm to get it to go straight again, so you lift your arm up and down, and then it straightens it out, I want you to take your other arm, and here's what I want you to kind of feel. Move this one up and move this one down, and then move this one down and move this one up. Keep your arms locked. So it's going to look like this. The reason for that is because that's how we're going to get the chucks to chase them. Let me give you an example. If both my arms are moving at the same time and they're both going up and down, as you can see, they're both moving simultaneously, right? That's just because as they're going down, we're pushing it down, which causes them to come up, and then we push it up. So they're moving same time, same direction. What we want to do is kind of break up the direction. So if we pull one up and pull one down, and then we go to the opposite way, what's going to happen is this one's going to be going over the top of the ridge while this one's going over the bottom, and it's going to create this the technique that you call the buzzsaw. So What I want you to do is explore this here. First, just see if you can do the easier one, which is both hands up and down. So up and down, up and down. See how they move at the same time? This doesn't really look too fancy or incredible, which is really funny because it's going to be the same amount of effort to do the next part. Now have one hand up and one hand down. You're going to try to start the buzzsaw a little bit early, so try to give it a little bit of rotation, like so. Get it started, and then this one hand goes up and this one goes down, and just pull it like this. Up and down, up and down. So as one goes up, the other goes down. Now eventually we're going to do it without moving our hands. We're just going to know how to feel this. But this is going to be kind of a very general way that you can feel how the buzzsaw is going to feel when it's nice and tight. So again, one hand's up, one hand's down. We start the spin off, and then our hands move in opposite directions the whole time. Up, down, up, down. Once you get the feel of this, slowly get your hands a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer, and all of a sudden you're doing it in your wrists right here. Do you see how it's cutting my body in half? Do you see that? They're both moving in very straight lines. If one is moving offline here, it's going to be incredibly difficult. I mean, maybe it's just because the timing I have with that, but it usually is difficult and it'll crash and do all kinds of crazy things. So that's how you do the buzzsaw. We're going to add one more part to this, which will make it intermediate. We're going to grab it kind of mid-grip, a little bit higher though. We're going to give it a little bit of space. And what we're going to do, it's going to be very simple. The concept's going to be simple. As the buzzsaw is spinning, all we're going to do is we're just going to put one chuck on top of the other, and the ropes, or chains, are going to wrap around like so. This is going to cause them to stop. So we're doing this here, boom, 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 boom. Actually, this is not a boom move. Swish, and they wrap around each other, which causes them to lock up and get stuck. Now here's the thing. You can't just pull on them, because if you notice, let me just do one chuck. If a chuck wraps around another one and you pull on it, it's the tension of it being wrapped around is causing it to not be able to unload. So even if I pull it hard, it's not going to work. So this actually requires a little bit of finesse with your wrist. So the moment it locks up, so the moment we get this lock up, drops it. The moment we get this lock up, it's actually more like riding a motorcycle. And what we're going to do, my fists are pointing towards the camera. It locks up, and then my fists are my wrists are pointed up. So my fists are pointing towards the camera. The moment I start to lock up, they go down just a hair. So because what I'm doing is as I'm twisting it, I'm going to get it just enough torque to unwind it. As soon as they hit their maximum part where they finally hit the end, you twist your wrist up almost like you're starting a motorcycle with both hands, and it's going to cause it to unwind. This is going to be the motion that's going to allow you to unwind it. Like I said, because you can't just strong arm it backwards because they're locked. But if you use your wrist and torque it, you can get it to unwrap the opposite way. Now, you're going to have to learn how to do this backwards. So you may not be ready for that yet. But it is good to know. See if you can at least get to that point to where you can reverse it like so. Hope you enjoyed your Technique Tuesday. I'm going to try to be more on the ball. Sorry about last week. But man, there's still so much more to cover. I'm just working like crazy on this website. I know I keep talking about it. I know I keep hyping it. But wait till you see it. I am going to change everything. All right. Hope you enjoy this. Be well.